Well, a lot of my mentors growing up, especially in high school, were teachers, especially Bible folks and history. I started off at Lee University studying pastoral ministries and realized that I was really more interested in theology type stuff. So I switched over to theology and really enjoyed that, and also really loved history. And a lot of the people I really looked up to were historians and history professors. And so I started studying history, and I majored in history at Lee. And I thought, well, what can I do? I don't want to be poor my whole life. So what can I do? Because historians, I know that they can run museums, they can teach, they can do several things. I thought, well, what can I do as a historian or with a degree in history? And I found out that law schools like people with a history background. So I thought, okay, I can check that out. So I had thought about going into law. I thought that would be fun and interesting and pay fairly well. But I could not shake my desire to study apologetics, theology, all that kind of stuff. I wasn't sure about philosophy. I didn't even really know about it. And yeah, in 10th grade, I kind of realized that I didn't know why I believed Christianity was true. And in study hall, what I should have been studying and doing schoolwork, I was sitting there thinking, everyone thinks they're right. The Mormons, Muslims, atheists, Christians, they all think that they're right. How do I know I'm right? I mean, because if they think they're right and they're wrong, I could think I'm right and I'd be wrong. So I couldn't shake the apologetic interest throughout high school, throughout college. And in April of 2004, I visited SES. I met Dr. Potter, Dr. Geisler, and I think it was April, it was sometime in the spring. I know I went to their banquet. That may have been in April. And then started in the fall of '04 in apologetics. And I took ST 503 with Dr. Geisler and OT 501 with Tom Howell and what else? Dr. Geisler also with for a history of modern contemporary philosophy. I didn't know anything about philosophy. I took as a 1 month kind of crash course, my very last class in college on philosophy. We went over, I read the Apology of Socrates, Boethius, and Descartes. And that kind of got me interested, but I wasn't really sure what it was all about still. So, but with Dr. Geisler, Dr. Howell, with those courses, it was obvious to me the very first semester at SDS, not knowing anything about philosophy until that point really, that if I wanted to be a good apologist, if I wanted to really study the Bible well, do theology, all that kind of stuff, I had to have some kind of proficiency in philosophy. And so I did what no one should do and took metaphysics in January of 2005 as a module. It was a week-long crash course in the hardest philosophy class that probably can be offered. And it wasn't just kind of modern day metaphysics. It wasn't like answering much of the question. It was going through, Aristotle and Thomas Aquinas. So it was really hard stuff. And it was the first night was my first wedding anniversary. So we celebrated and went to dinner, and I went to class. And I came back, and my wife was like, "Well, what was the class about?" I don't know. Is the table here? What is existence? What does it mean to be? These kind of things. So I got interested more and more in philosophy and kept seeing the importance, not even for just philosophy's own sake, but for hermeneutics and biblical studies and apologetics, theology. And so I added on the concentration. There wasn't a major at the time. I added the concentration. And once the major was available, I ended up majoring in that as well. And then I went and did Greek and Hebrew because I wanted to study the Bible and defend it. So I thought, well, I should know the original languages. And then I added the third major, biblical studies as well.